everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jessica M. Harris here, and I am back with a brand new video. I am also the founder, you guys, of Ignite Your Glow, which is a whole movement created for women just like yourselves who are ready to be transformed by the renewing of their minds. It's time for you to bypass them limiting belief systems so you can begin living purposefully and boldly in your God-given purpose. This is a space for you to heal, to grow, and to be transformed. So let's get it and let's go. Today's conversation is all about accountability and taking responsibility for your actions. Listen, I know accountability is something that we hear, and I feel like it's something that we even tussle with. Not because we don't want to be held accountable, but I feel like without having like the consistency in our nature and our development and those characteristics that we have, it tends to feel a little flawed, and it tends to feel like, oh, do I really have to? Yada, 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 right? But when I look at the fruits of the spirit and I think about the fact that self-discipline is one of them, then I have to think like, well, if self-discipline is a fruit of the spirit, right? Along with love and etc., being humble, be like meekness, right? Then why wouldn't we be open to being accountable? Why wouldn't we be open to remaining accountable for our actions, right? What do we do? What are we not doing? What is it that we still have yet to do? And that can be for any area of our lives. That can be remaining accountable when it comes to your health. That can be remaining accountable when it comes to, your body, when it comes to, your finances. There's a lot of different areas where we have to have ownership in and really understand, what was the part that we played in it. And this conversation is really coming to mind because recently I've had the fortunate opportunity to really just come into partnership with some amazing women of God, and just really who are like in this like conjunction of we are helping each other remain accountable with our goals, with our actions, with our desires, with our development, right? Whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's spiritual, like there's this accountability that's been taking place here. And I was super excited about it because I didn't know what to expect. These weren't women that I had I've known them for a long time. No. These were women that I just so happened to get into groupings with. And it's crazy because I actually ended up getting, in a sense, kind of like two different groups that are kind of like not the same. They're very different. One is more spiritual, business, personal, like all tied together. And then the other one has been more like a figuring out life, friendship, almost vibe, right? Like you're building up this relationship that could then possibly lead to like a deeper friendship. And I feel like it's so interesting because although the group started with two different intentions, they have been able to bring forth accountability on all sides. And I thought that part was beautiful because that was like kind of like highlighted, not just in practice, but even just like as I was like overlooking like the last few days, as I overlooked the last few months, the last few weeks. And I'm just looking like, there's been a lot of intentionality that has gone forth. And I honestly got to see like when you're intentional about holding yourself accountable, things are different, like 100%. And I realized that I think more so in the month of February because there was some things that I had wanted to do, but I kind of like shied away from just because there was like this nervousness that was really just like creeping up. And I'm like, I had a moment where I had to like check myself. Not in February, a few months prior, because it was like something that I wanted to do and I almost did it. Like I was like right at the door of it. And I got so nervous. I checked it out. And I looked at myself, y'all, and was like, why did you leave? Why did you check it out? Why did you get so nervous? Why? Where is that coming from? And I honestly couldn't say at that time, like where or why I had gotten so nervous. I didn't know. I was like, if this was like any other time period in your life, you would have been like 100% for it. You would have been like, let's go. You would have been like talking to like everybody and everything. And it would have just been easy. And I had to have like this reality check with myself. Like, there's something that is like blocking, right? At that point where I wasn't able to really embrace like my full authentic self. And God and I went through a journey of really just, going through the pieces, looking at prior events and stuff like that, going through the Word of God, looking at stories of others who had been through different trials and how they were able to really like bypass a lot of the barriers that they had experienced. And I remember just thinking like, okay, God, you say X, Y, and Z, right? Such as like, you are worthy, you are loved, right? You are magnificent, right? Like, this is who, well, God is magnificent, but like even the fact like we're fearfully and wonderfully made, right? Like, we're made in his image. So we're magnificent, right? Like, we're magnificent creatures in Christ. That's the word that came to mind, like, you're magnificent. So I'm like, okay. Oh yeah, he would say the word marvelous, right? Like, you're marvelous, you're marvelous. And it was kind of like that concept there that I really had to like dig in on, because there was a lot of periods in my life, even like last year and stuff, where I didn't feel as worthy. I didn't feel as loved. Like, a lot of stuff happened last year that caused me to really kind of like go from feeling like, okay, we're good, to just discombobulated. And I had to really like go back into that journey and kind of like stretch those areas out and understanding like, okay, God, what happened? Like, where did this come from? Why are some of these pieces trying to like rear their ugly heads? And help me, get through these pieces, because I know it's not coming up for no reason. I know there's a reason that this is taking place here, but I need to have like a deeper understanding. And when I got into, when I had the opportunity to meet up with these ladies in particular, it was another opportunity that came up, like the first one that I have ran away from, right? But this opportunity was different, because this opportunity wasn't presented as like, hey, go meet these ladies and done. Like, that wasn't the way it happened. It was, hey, we're having an event. We're already there. I'm just going to bring you to another area, right? And I said, okay, God, there's a reason that you had me already seated in that area. So I said, okay, bet. So then I went to the other area that they were calling us to go to. And it was people who were more in my age group and stuff like that, both men and women. So it was a lot of like older college students, like college students, and then like the older college students, the professional college students, the ones that were after their undergrad. A lot of us are older. So some of us are in our doctorates, masters, like a lot of us are in different areas, right? I am currently not in school, but that was the vibe, right? A lot of professionals. So I remember going up, to the other area, and I was like, okay, God, we're just gonna go. I'm already here. I feel like you're leading me to go, because last time I just dipped and was like, I can't. This time I felt like, you got this. So I had to like talk myself, y'all. Like, I had to be like, yo, you got this. It's okay. It's okay. It's not nerve-wracking, because sometimes you go places, and for me, like, I go a lot of places. I don't have like a group that's coming with me. So I'm coming into like an area where it's like, I'm just me. And I'm coming into rooms that already have people that have already had established relationships. So it's a little bit different sometimes, right? It can feel a little intimidating. And I was like, all right, Jess, we just gonna be ourselves. And y'all, I promise you, there was a young lady that I had never actually met her formally, but she always said hi to me. She had always, welcomed me. She had always, smiled and said, hey, how you doing? She always, her energy was always like on 10. So I remember seeing her and being like, oh, I'm going to go sit with her. And y'all, that day blessed me 100,000%, because not only did I get a chance to meet her, but I got to meet the woman that she was just now meeting. And I got to be put in contact with a lot of other people that I didn't even know who were there. And these ladies have been a tremendous like resource and help and just inspiration, and just listening to their stories and being able to like watch them grow, and vice versa, right? Like, we're able to offer supports to one another. So I'm offering supports, they're offering supports. We're giving feedback to each other and holding each other accountable. And it came from this community of people who I didn't know. Right. And that's where I wanted to like talk about the accountability part, because I had to hold myself accountable. I can't sit here and say, I want to build, this community, because I know there's a community that's being built. I know there's a movement that's taking place. But how can I do that if I'm not stretching out and going into the places where I know that the community of women that I'm called to serve are located, right? Like, how can I do that if I am not actively participating in the development that is needed for myself to be able to then have these conversations with them? So having that ability to see that part there, right? And then being able to just encounter them, talk to them, was like mind blowing, because I feel like we have this desire, this goal, this dream, this vision, right? To do whatever it is that we're called to do. But I feel like there's a responsibility, right, that has to take a part. Because the question is, okay, well, if God calls you to build out a program, well, how are you going to do that if you're not meeting the people that you're going to serve, right? If God is calling you to do X, Y, and Z, well, how can you do that if, you're not getting out of your own comfort zone to do the things that are necessary, right? Like, how can you? So I feel like there was like this phase there that I really had to like overcome for me, right? Because it was different, right? I'm used to online. I'm used to, online is easier. Like, you see me, but you don't see me. So it's a little different, right? But in this case, it was really just stretching and growing, because this was going from being online to really having these in-person, person-to-person interactions. And these are interactions that I haven't had to really do that often in this capacity in a really long time, right? So, and a lot of that had to do, the pandemic and stuff took place. So a lot of things that I would do in person over the years, like before the pandemic, they were in-person gatherings. They were in-person meetups and social networking events and stuff. And I was down for it. But because of the pandemic and we got acclimated, more to like online and stuff, I don't want to say like I reverted back to old habits, but I feel like it definitely was like, okay, Jess, you're going to have to, shift a little bit. And I'm trying to see, honestly, this isn't going to make a difference. Like, no one's going to be able to see my waist down. So me doing this part is like, no one's going to tell the difference, just to be for real. Y'all are only going to see like up here when I do whatever, like what I'm working on, that's all you're going to see. So should have put on pajamas, to be for real. But I wanted to go outside today too. So I'm kind of like, pajamas, leggings. Anyways, so I share all that to say, don't be afraid of making new friends. Don't be afraid of meeting new people. Don't be afraid of meeting new people. Because I did that, and y'all, these ladies are like fabulous. Like, we don't talk all the time. We don't do a lot of meetups just yet. And I'm saying the yet part because we have talked about doing meetups, but everybody's schedule is like really hectic because, like I said, a lot of them are in school. A lot of them are like in their doctorate programs. Some are actually in medical school. Some are going for psych. So there's a whole plethora of people here that are like, in different things. And for me, like, I work full time and I'm also, in business. So my time is like tied as well. So, but when we see each other, because we do still see each other at least like once or twice a week, depending, in general. So when we do see each other, we are able to catch up. We are able, to follow up and say, hey, like, how did that go? How did this go? What are you up to now? What do you need help in? How can I help you? How can I serve? Right. And we're still able to really like operate in those spaces with that grace. So I just want to share, like, hold yourself accountable this year. If you've made it to a place where you're like, listen, I really want to help others, just do it, right? Begin to see who it is that you can be, an asset to in this hour, and vice versa. There's a lady, I forget who said it. It was recent because I remember hearing it, and the words were, I don't remember whose show I was listening to, but the words that she said was, be the person that you are looking for to help you. Right? So if you're looking, for example, someone to help you out in your business, right? Because maybe you need, I don't know, an assistant or whatever the case is, right? But you happen to meet somebody who maybe they're brand new, right? Super new into business, are just fresh out the wind, right? And they're just trying to get a leg up, but business, or elements and pieces that can like be beneficial to them. Be that resource for them while you're waiting on the resources